Believe what you see. If you're gonna make a James Bond movie, don't kill him at the end. It's not a good look. I get that all actors get a little tired playing JB at some point. They kind of shit all over the character. Hell, Sean Connery did it when he put on that Japanese makeup. Roger Moore did it where he dressed up like a goddamn clown running around. Pierce Brosnan did it, surfing on that CG iceberg. And Timothy Dalton did it in that second movie of his, just being in that movie. George Lazenby did it by just being James Bond for one movie. So it's cool, you know, everyone does something silly with the character at some point, and it's actually kind of a fitting end to Daniel Craig's often melodramatic, overly intense, angsty tenure as Bond. But it was a good one, don't get me wrong. Casino Royale was fantastic. Quantum of Solace was not. Skyfall was fantastic. Spectre was not. And No Time to Die was good. I kind of went into it expecting it to be worse than Casino Royale and Skyfall, but better than the others. And it was, but it was better than the others. Even though it wasn't really the big grand scale masterpiece as Skyfall and as Spectre wanted to be, it's actually kind of a super solid classic James Bond movie, which surprised me. At times it kind of looked and felt like a Pierce Brosnan movie with a lot of big set pieces and tons of characters and explosions and super fast pacing. And then at times it reminded me of kind of a Roger Moore epic globe-trotting adventure with, you know, surprises at every turn. The movie is visually amazing. Every shot is super nice. The past few JBs have been super gorge, and this is no exception. Every scene is just lovingly made and colored, and there's a variety of colors in this movie, thankfully. There's a lot of, like, red and blue lighting on people that kind of reminds me of the Roger Moore movies, that era of making movies. It's super fun, and even though it's a long-ass movie, it really does breeze by up until the end. The plot gets kind of hard to follow, and, you know, whatever. You kind of stop paying attention at a certain point. I do anyway. I feel that's actually kind of classic, at least for, you know, I think most James Bond movies, the plots traditionally kind of get overcomplicated. Even, you know, one of the best recent movies, Skyfall, people admit that the plot gets kind of ridiculous, but it's part of being a JB movie. And NT 2D does it super well. The bad guy, he's okay. He's kind of a softie, and the idea for him to be the one responsible for James Bond's death is so passively too. I don't know. I don't know about that ending. He was fine. He looked cool. Super Dr. No vibes. And that's another thing. The movie retreats a lot. It almost felt like a fan service movie. Tons of references. Almost too much. And I think the last Pierce Brosnan movie did that too, where it was a little overboard on the references. There were cool references to old movies, like that sunken-ass ship, security center, whatever. But all the references to On Her Majesty's Secret Service were a little over the top, and then playing that Louis Armstrong, the same credit song, like, why would... I don't understand why they did that. I don't think James Bond movies need to be remade, but I know a lot of people are unhappy with George L. in that role, and maybe are craving a remake, but I think people need to deal with it, and they need to deal with Georgette doing a top-notch job in that movie. My favorite thing about the movie were the characters. I really dug all the over-the-top characterizations. There were tons of vibrant, even kind of wacky characters, which, particularly bad guys, which was a great departure and a breath of fresh air from the past few Daniel Craigs, which mostly had kind of, bad, sinister businessman kind of bad guys most of the time. Whereas this is just like Pierce Brosnan level baddies. That guy with the eye that came out was super cool and intimidating, and died a cool death. And Blofeld was amazing. They really maybe made the best Blofeld. It was hard to outdo that hand with the cat from the first couple Blofelds, but having a pillow with an eyeball and that voice in everyone's ear, they really maybe made the best Blofeld ever with that depiction. And Christoph Waltz got to do a much better take than Inspector. He was much more confident and prepared for the character this time and delivered an excellent and memorable scene. That Russian guy, the scientist, gave me Boris vibes, but definitely stood on his own and died a cool death. Yeah, I really dug the baddies. And Rami Malek, he did good. He's a memorable baddie. I take back what I said earlier, he was good. He just wasn't in it too much, and I feel like his conflict, particularly with James Bond's wife, Léa Seydoux, was kind of, I don't know, it was weird. Kind of reminded me of The World Is Not Enough. Logan Ash was a super cool bad guy. I really liked that. Yeah, all the baddies were great in this. As far as the good guys, Ralph Fiennes was awesome as M. We had both an M versus Bond fighting scene, and we had a M versus Bond bro scene. So the movie had it all as far as the Bond-M relationship. And we even had the little pictures of the old M's. How sweet. Latasha Lynch was awesome as the new 007. But then they totally, kick her to the side halfway through the movie, and she doesn't do shit. She's not even helping James Bond. She could have saved James Bond's ass at the end. But whatever, I don't know. It's like they set it up to bring her back for another movie, but they're not going to. She would be an amazing James Bond. But they're not going to do it. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know why they introduced the new 007. We'll see, but I doubt they would use her. I hope they do. Jeffrey Wright was good as Felix Leiter, as usual. He was even better in this one. I kind of liked how he was all over the place. In his few short moments, he was kind of just gruff and short in the other movies, and this one he was a little more lively. I feel like everyone was more lively. Daniel Craig was all over the place, acting-wise, and great in every scene. It was particularly awesome seeing Daniel Craig working with the CIA at the beginning. And it almost made you want to see a series or movies of Daniel Craig post MI6, just as a contract, aging assassin. That would have been really cool, and that part of the movie was awesome. And the character Paloma that Bond teams up with is super amazing, and she's only in that one fucking scene. But that scene is great. The party scene, it was super memorable, with all them baddies engaging in bad antics, devious things around that big old house. I loved that scene. That was cool. Naomi Harris as Moneypenny. Oh my god. And we see her butt in a leather skirt. Oh, jeez Louise. It's super memorable. Q was cool in this movie. He was a little more flustered and a little more acting like the classic Q at moments. He was a little annoying in the past few movies. I feel like the past few movies were constant close-ups of him looking super, intense. In this movie, he was a little more of the quirky Q that we all want. So I'm hoping to see him continue in the new movies. Léa Seydoux, I don't think... she doesn't seem like James Bond marriage material, you know? Especially looking at his past, you know, major flings with Casino Royale Vespa and Eva Green as Vespa, and of course Diane Rigg in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Like, that seems like, you know, a woman that would make James Bond fall in love, whereas Lucy Dew is always a victim, kind of. She's crying all the time, and she can use a gun and shit, but I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really dig that relationship in Spectre, and it was much less pronounced in this movie, even though it was a major backdrop for the story. DC was super comfortable in the role, and like I said, he had a ton of dialogue and a lot of acting, a lot of different emotions coming from that guy this time around, and super relatable, you know? I liked the fact that even though he was years into, you know, being 007, he was still a little bit of a fragile creature, you know? A little bit of a trauma still lingering from Casino Royale so many years ago. So that was cool. I just think they took things over the top by blowing him up with a bunch of missiles. I loved the return of henchmen wearing the same outfits. That was amazing. Thank you for doing that. And the big lair. A lair with henchmen, a big old headquarters with acid pits that people get thrown into. Well done. Bring back more of that, please. That is James Bond. Not him getting his ass shot by a fuck ton of missiles at the end of the movie. Are you kidding me? The direction and the writing and the cinematography were all fantastic. I think it was the director of True Detective, which I didn't really like. Maybe I need to get back to it. I thought it was kind of boring. And I was kind of worried for kind of Spectre-style boring pacing in this movie. But no, not at all. It's almost all 3 hours you're completely engaged. It's a thrill fest. It was cool to see James Bond in that old Aston Martin cruising around. And that gunfight scene, the action scenes in this movie were amazing. I was even kind of, you know, getting into that SUV scene in the forest. It was so cool to see James Bond drive an SUV and aggressively smashing people off the road in the little Toyota. That was cool. But the Aston Martin scene is fantastic. Really showcasing the bulletproof glass on that vehicle. Daniel Craig looked amazing in this movie. You know, nice job, DC. I didn't like the opening titles, and I did not like the opening song. It's super boring. I don't know about these animations. Like with Casino Royale and Skyfall, I thought they were well done, but I feel like they're kind of retreating. I don't know. Oh, and the one thing I thought was hilarious was when they completely undid the idea of Bond being brothers with Blofeld, because so many people made fun of them for doing that in Spectre, especially with the Austin Powers reference. So it was amazing to see them undo it all with just one line in this movie. That was really nice. Retroactive cleanup, guys. Daniel Craig's Bond getting his ass blown apart by a bunch of missiles at the end of the movie was kind of a fitting end to his melodramatic and a little over-the-top storyline. So I hope they kind of take things back down, you know, somewhat, with the next movie and the next JB actor. NT2D is RL good, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again and mulling it over some more. I could even see it climbing up a little more the more I watch it, because even though I don't immediately want to say it's as good as Casino Royale or Skyfall, it is a classic James Bond movie, and maybe even more of a classic James Bond movie than those two, which were more like newer James Bond movies to me, if that makes sense. But it's a good one. If you like James Bond like I do, you'll like it. And if you liked this vid, then be sure to smash that like button before you scooch on out of here. And be my sub. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. As usual, it was a pleasure, and I can't wait to chat movies again with you sometime soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.